swimming along, and they happen to meet an older fish swimming the other way, who nods at them and says, "Morning, boys, how's the water?" And the two young fish swim on for a bit, and then eventually one of them turns to the other and goes, "What the hell is water?" It is difficult to stay aware of what is happening in the world, especially when you're too busy with dealing with the conundrum inside your head. It is difficult because we don't know what is going to happen in the future. We most definitely don't know how we are going to flatten this COVID curve. And yet we are talking about getting ahead of the curve. Steve Jobs dropped out of Reed's College just after one semester. The result of his dropping out is Apple Inc. There is nothing unexpected about having a smartphone that can text and take calls and harvest your mails for you. But there is something unexpected about a technological device that is also beautiful to hold, to watch, and the most convenient to use. He took to this hobby of calligraphy very seriously after observing throughout the campus, everything, each and every signage, every label of each and every drawer was beautifully hand calligraphed. He learned the small nuances about calligraphy, about the spaces in typography, different fonts, the sans serif font, which has inspired the Macintosh typography since the beginning. It was the most beautiful, historical, and artistic, subtle way in which science cannot capture. In short, through mastering calligraphy, Jobs learned to think like an artist. It became the skill that separated him from most of the business leaders and computer geniuses at that time. It enabled him to move out of the pack and build out, almost out of nothing, one of the biggest corporations in the world and the most admirable corporations in the world, and also bring about revolution in the modern life. Human creativity is extraordinary, but sadly, education kills creativity. Don't you think? How many of us have pursued a hobby only to stop once you started your higher studies? And why does that happen? Is it because of the lack of time? Is it because of lack of interest? Or merely because of happier pursuits in life? A degree, an internship, the perfect job, it is not going to help you get ahead of the curve. It might be a catalyst to some extent, but to a larger extent, it's your curiosity and creativity that will take you forward. As we grow older, why do we stop asking questions? We stop asking questions for the fear of being ridiculed. Somehow we have stigmatized mistakes, and that's the whole crux of human limitations. My 8-year-old son the other day asked me, "Mummy, why do we have to read everything that we see?" And I did not have an answer for that. I did not have an answer that an 8-year-old can comprehend. Most of us know what we want to do. A few of us know how we want to do it. But there are very few of us who ask why we want to do it. Now, tell me one thing. Why haven't big automobile corporations in the world like Toyota, Hyundai, Honda, or General Motors did not come up with or did not think of a concept of something like Uber? Maybe because they stopped asking the question why. Why are we here? Why are we doing this? It's very important that we ask questions to ourselves as well as to others. My marketing professor at IIM Bangalore, Mr. Vayalar Murthy, in the first lecture of marketing management told us, you should give the customers what they don't even know they want. And we were slightly confused because we've traditionally been taught about giving the customers what they want or what they deserve or what they desire. But now here he is telling us, give your customers something that they don't even know that they want. We were very happy with our feature Nokia phones till the Android, iOS and the Android and the iOS came into being. But that's exactly what happened. Why isn't Nokia almost non-existent today? It's because iPhone and the Android systems showed us what we did not even know we want. And now once they've showed us, there is no looking back. We all are almost addicted to our phones. It's a simple logic, right? Another example, how many of us always cherish the smell and the aroma of fresh idlis in the morning or freshly brewed filter coffee? I'm sure most of you agree with me here. That is something that we really cherish. That always makes us feel good. Now you'll be wondering why I'm talking about fresh idlis right now. PC Mustafa, the founder of ID company, the idli batter company, a son of a daily wage worker. Like I said, he was a daily wage worker. He was not able to even complete his primary education. It was his mathematics teacher in school, in a small village in Kerala, Matthew sir, who went and spoke to his parents and decided to pitch in his salary to pay PC Mustafa's fees. And then he educated himself very well. Educating someone very well does not mean getting a good degree, but it also means how much you can take back from the knowledge, the academic knowledge base that you have received through your formal education. Coming back to the topic of fresh idlis, you can always go to a hotel and eat idlis or order ready idlis from a hotel. But what is it that he understood? What is it that he understood through his upbringing? He understood that there is nothing like the smell of fresh idlis that his mother made for him. That was something that he cherished and was closest to his heart. From selling 5 packets of idlis in Indranagar today to almost a 200 crore empire. This is a very inspiring story, a typical rags to riches story of PC Mustafa. He understood that maybe many working mothers are not able to have the time to give fresh idlis to their kids, and that is why he made this idli batter of extremely good quality readily available to all the working mothers, and I'm sure we all bless him invariably. So that's one story that I wanted to share with you all. Now one of my classmates, he is the founder of Bira 91 beer. Most of you might have heard about it. It's not a rags to riches story, but a story, something that we can learn about a lot from. He started this company after doing a lot of research. It was a very well planned startup, but he realized that there is a need in the market. Bira beer does not, most of the people don't like the smell of beer, but through Bira he got a beer which doesn't look like beer and also which doesn't smell like beer. And how did he make it quirky? Now how did he make it quirky? If you see the logo of Bira beer, the B is opposite and the logo is a monkey. Opposite. Why is the B opposite? Is always because they want to challenge the norm. And monkey to bring out the happy side or the fun side. And Bira also means brother in some North Indian languages. And 91, which stands for our country code. So that is why Bira 91 came came into being, and today is one of very successful Indian and one of very few successful Indian brands in that sector. Speciality about him is he does not hire anybody with an experience in that market. He hires people from all different aspects of business. The reason being, he says, is because they add a lot of value. They always come in with a fresher perspective. They come out unbiased. As students or as human beings, it is very important for us that we are able to adapt ourselves. We are able to be resilient in our approach to finding a job or doing our projects. We should be able to adapt ourselves to the situation and not wait for the situation to come and change for itself for you. Another, when I was in the 8th standard, we had a IQ test. In those days, these IQ tests were extremely popular. We all were made to go through it, and I still don't know why, because I was not taught to ask the question why. Because we were never encouraged to challenge the norm. So, and I scored a mere 67 percentile, whereas my best friend, her name is Ketki, she scored a staggering 98 percentile. And from that day onwards, I knew that she is the smartest thing to ever happen to me. I always, even still now, I look up to her. She's a great advisor. Right now, she's working in Google Cloud Computing in the head office in California, whereas myself, Vaishnavi Ishwar Mane, I am an assistant professor at B&M Institute of Technology, and I'm an entrepreneur. As my passion project, I started this concept of a kids activity farm called the Big Barn Farm. And I take immense pride in sharing that as of now, since inception, we have almost onboarded 30 people. And I take even more pride in telling that during the lockdown, we have hired four to five more full-time employees. These were the people who were working for us on a contract basis, but after the lockdown, they were not able to even sustain themselves and not able to even earn 2 square meals a day. So I take immense pride, even though we were not functioning for the past 6 or 8 months, we've still onboarded them, and that is the thing. That happens because it's my passion project. So that's something that I really thought I should share with all of you here. The most importantly, I'm quoting this example because we all need to understand that there is a difference between IQ and EQ. IQ is your intelligence, as well as EQ is your emotional quotient. Your IQ might get your dream job, but your emotional quotient is going to help you get satisfaction in your dream job, is going to help you get, build long-lasting, lifelong relationships with your peers, with your colleagues, with your friends, and moreover, an immense satisfaction of value creation. That is what emotional quotient will give you. So, emotional quotient is something that comes from your heart and that connects you with your brain. And we all know anything that you do from your heart will always be successful and always give you more satisfaction. So a lot of the times we don't know what we want to do or why we want to do it. So how does one discover passion? There is no easy cookbook answer for that. Nobody can give you an answer. First, of many, you might want to find the dots so that over time you will learn to connect them. Secondly, you're a very lucky generation who is going to see a very interesting confluence of humans and machines working together in many fields. And most importantly, you are very lucky to be born in this country. You're also very lucky because you are the ones who are going to lead us into industrialization of this massive society. With so much at stake, there is no way you're going to be able to do it if your heart is not in what you're doing. So be resilient in your approach and be relentless in your pursuits. Trust your guts and follow your instincts. And lastly, so what is the mantra of getting ahead of the curve? How will you get ahead of the curve? By being curious, by being creative, by being consistent, by being committed, and by being content. Thank you all so much for this opportunity, and thank you all for giving me your time. I would like to thank Bindu ma'am and the BNMIT IEEE chapter for giving me this opportunity and letting me share my thoughts with the students. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and please feel free to ask.
Namaste, ma'am.
Namaste, sir. Good afternoon. A very happy afternoon.
Happy afternoon, ma'am. That was a wonderful talk by you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations. Ma'am, my question is, all the things that you have talked about is available, but don't you think money plays an important role here? Because
Yes, sir. I see. Money is, yes, money and time for certain people. Resources are the biggest limitations, but I think there is always a way to go about it. Like I just mentioned in PC Mustafa's story, it was his fourth standard mathematics teacher who identified that this fellow there is something different about him, and looks like he is capable of contributing. So like I said, if you do it relentlessly and which is a favorite word of Secretary Sir, doing everything relentlessly, that's what he was talking to even the graduates yesterday. Where there is a will, there is a way, sir. That's how I would like to say, I would like to put it.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Any questions from the students or even the faculties or any other guests they're attending? Or is everybody already in pursuit of filter coffee? I see somebody. No questions. Okay.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon, sir.
I am Kiran from ENC department, madam. Madam, I had a question.
Yes, sir.
Are there enough avenues or opportunities for encouraging creativity in the society?
So yes, of course, and like I was telling, you might find a lot of engineers, but you might find a lot of doctors, but there are very few people with that creative touch. The reason being, like I said, we stop pursuing a hobby, and as we get more educated, our creativity kind of goes down. And when you talk about avenues, yes, there are always avenues for create. Right now, how difficult it is for you to find a sketch artist versus finding a computer engineer, a BE computer science student. You can look it up for yourself on LinkedIn, sir. For certain projects, I was trying to look for people with a technical background as well as something where they are related to art or something. There are very, very, very few. That is the reason. And creativity is not limited to if you're creative, if you're passionate about anything. Like for example, I was having a discussion with somebody in sports the other day. There are very few people. We all might be fan of, we all are watching IPL and we are all watching ISL, but there are very few people who are getting into techniques of the sport. And that is only possible if you're passionate about the sport. At the same time, you have the academic knowledge. At the same time, you're able to apply that knowledge, and I think that takes creativity. All of us can do things, but doing things differently and creatively is the only one which can. So it does not mean that an engineering graduate or or like a computer science diploma student cannot do anything. Even he can do the normal job, but he can do it creatively. It could be a small thing as a group presentation. When you go out in the workforce, you can stand out if they know that yes, Vaishnavi is the one to go to make good presentations. That's it. Like, you're already going ahead of the curve or going ahead of your team. So your creativity and consistency towards your passion can always fetch you. There is no different avenue for that. It's in the same avenue. It's about how you do things differently and go ahead of the curve. That's why creativity is at the most important aspect, according to me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Ma'am, there is one question from Vidar.
Okay.
How can one remain consistent and committed when there is so much of crisis around? That's
Oh,
all.
I don't know if he's typing that. That's my son. But anyway, that's a good question. Remain consistent and committed when there's okay. Be focused that's the one. I think you have to be focused and see, like you said, dreams are something that don't let you sleep, according to Kalam sir. That's what we've always been following, and always we try to follow that, right? So if it is something that you're so focused about that is giving you a sleepless night, irrespective of the conundrum around or the crisis around, I think we can still be at it. We can always progress. Thank you, Vedant, for the question. Bindu ma'am, how are we doing on the time?
Ma'am, we can take 2 more questions, ma'am.
Okay. Anyone has any questions? Students, any questions? We have a question. The question is in the chat box. Ma'am, when it comes to winning in life, you look for monetary gains the most, right? So if you try to do something creative and the market doesn't encourage it, what would the solution to this be? Oh, Nikita, that's a very interesting question. I'm very happy that one of you was asked this question. So in management, we always talk about there is something called an early mover advantage or the first mover advantage. What it means is that it means that the person who comes into the market first, there are certain advantages because you are new in the market, nobody's seen the product that you're giving. But at the same time, there are people who will always, you're going to always face resistance because you're always trying to challenge the norm. You're always trying to do something what is not being done normally. So I'll take the second question first. If you're creative and somebody doesn't encourage it, it's just a matter of time before people start. So the best example that I would give you is we all use Paytm. Most of us have used Paytm, and especially after the day demonetization happened, we all have taken to the wallet payment system so quickly. But M-Pesa is an Indian-born company who were doing they had this wallet payment system right in 2012. But nobody appreciated that because he moved in too early. The market was not ready for that. So when you're doing something creative, when you're thinking out of the box, it will always get attention, good and bad. But only with time, there will be people who will adapt to it. And you can see that most of the companies who've done something differently and done something, when you say creative, it should always mean your aim should be, you should understand why you're doing something creative. If you're doing something creative just to challenge the norm, then it is definitely not going to work. But if you're doing something creatively to add value to somebody's life, if you're doing something creative to make a mother's life easy, or doing something creative to make a farmer's life easy, or if you're building an application to make a student's life easy, and you do it in a creative way, I'm sure you will find money, you will find success, and money will always follow.
Ma'am, there is another question, ma'am.
Thank you, Nikita. Yes. Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Your presentation was good, but what
answer this question.
Is it,
So today,
is it part of your PhD or something like that?
No, sir, it's not. It's not a part of my PhD work.
Okay. So you want to tell teachers that when they teach students, these points they should keep in their mind.
Teach students as well as we have a few students from the IEEE chapter of BNMIT here in the audience, sir. It was mainly for them. It's also basically my intention of this talk and choosing this topic was we should, whatever we do it with a lot of creativity and passion, and only then we can stand out.
So teachers can also adapt to this strategy.
Of course, in our teaching, sir. Yes, sir. That is a part of my PhD topic, sir.
Very nice.
Thank you, sir.
so we have had ICT activities the whole of this week, and today we are announcing the prizes. So, so we have this talk followed by the announcement of prize, and we have Dr. Veena ma'am also talking about nanotechnology. This is the schedule for the day.
Okay, I think it's time for Veena ma'am, Dr. Veena to take over.
Yes, ma'am. There's one question if you want to take it.
I can't see the question, ma'am. Is it in the chat?
I'll read it out to you, ma'am.
Sure, sir. Sure, ma'am.
How can one use his skill sets developed in sports to enhance his performance in academics?
See, actually, it could be any sport. I myself have been a basketball player in school, which is very evident from my height. But most importantly, I feel sports teaches you discipline. It teaches you discipline of time, it teaches you discipline of health. And discipline, like we all have been taught in school. See, there is a reason that we are told to do PT in school. It's only for the discipline, inculcate discipline in us. If you're disciplined, I think you can be successful even in your, irrespective of your hobbies, your passion, your academics. So I think being in sports is going to reflect in terms of your discipline in academics. That's something that I think all of us and the students can take back. Thank you. Anyone else has a question? One last question and then we can close it. I see some question here. Thank you all for the compliments on the chat. I will reply to them soon.
What do you recommend creativity, how creativity can be taken to the forefront?
As a student?
Yes.
Okay, so as a student, like all of us, for example, we have a lot of, we all give out assignments, at least in our department. Most of the time we tell them to do a presentation, right? When we tell them to do a presentation, it does not mean they need to use a PowerPoint, right? They can be creative in the presentation, maybe through skits or making a small video, or there are so many, like through memes, for example, that those are the new ways, and you know, where you can really explore your creative abilities. Because when I say presentation, I think 90% of us think only of the PowerPoint. Why is it not that we think about doodling? Or why is it not that we think about making a small skit or making a small song? So also the reason is that if you're able to be creative as a student, it's going to reflect in your internship or the project work that you do. We all, like for example, we see students taking pictures from Google and posting it even in their final year project work. Why is it that not we can, you know, as faculties, we can tell them to, you know, make original work. So once you push them to do original work, maybe we might see their creativity actually flowing in. So creativity is not doing something different, but it is doing everything differently. I think that's how I define creativity. It's your own unique style, which you are able to communicate. So maybe that is something that we all can take back as students and even as teachers. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Bindu ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving your time.
Thank Thank you.
Now I request Dr. Neena Chakravarti, Professor